All right.
Continue.
All right. We are here with the one and only Coach Krause.
Oh boy.
He's regarded as one of the best youth coaches in the country. He is national clinics all over the place. Currently right now coming to us from Oklahoma. Just a little bit about Coach, and I'll let him get into a little bit of his background as well. But he's the head coach of Next Level Wrestling since 2003. He's previously coached at Detroit Central Catholic, who were state champs in 2010, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
That's correct.
He is a 3-time Monterey champion coaches clinician, 8-time USJOC guest of honor, 3-time ASICS National New York coaches clinician. He's been wrestling and coaching for over 30 years, and in his words, simply put, he brings the heat.
That's just true. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on. This is fun stuff.
Absolutely, Coach. So, we always like to start off a little bit just seeing how you're doing. So, obviously the pandemic hit. You were telling us a little bit about it, but how have you been holding up during it?
Well, I'm doing fine. I mean, it's weird how the pandemic hit in April and May, and those are my off months, basically. I missed a few big tournaments that I was going to warm up on with and such, but we stayed home. We wore the mask when we had to, and we held each other tight. I was really bummed out that the gyms closed down because I like to work out every day, so that kind of sucked. But bottom line is we're getting through this. I did some Zoom things online with some teams or whatnot, but that kind of got old real quick. I'm just if you're a true wrestler, you can work out by yourself and do anything. You can do stuff by yourself, I think. But things are going okay now. My June got pushed into August and some preseason stuff, and I filled up my June with states that were having camps. So I'm doing all right.
Traveling the country right now?
Yeah. Currently, I'm in Oklahoma. I just came from Texas, and I'm from Michigan. And right now it's kind of hot in Michigan, but it's a different kind of heat out here. It's a different kind of heat. And so I'm doing a 2-hour clinic tomorrow at that big Grand River Rumble over here in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And then I'm heading out that day to go to New Mexico, then Louisiana, and then over to Alabama. So I got my work cut out.
That's awesome. So kind of on that note, I've had the privilege of following you for a couple of years now, and I got to say you are one of the most energetic people I've met.
I appreciate it.
Your videos, your messages that you put out, we listen to those. We kind of try and preach a lot of the same things. Your messages are always great. But I do have to ask, where does this energy come from?
Well, it's funny. I mean, right now I'm kind of amped up because I'm here's the deal. And this is who I am. And when I do those national coaching clinics, everyone always says, "Oh man, they will say, oh, I love your energy." And this is how I am normally. But especially when you're around your kids, you got to be yourself, but you got to be yourself times 10. So I'm naturally a little hyper. So when I'm around kids and I'm coaching, my coaching character, if you will, I'm like a hyper drill sergeant, basically. Yeah. So that's where it comes from. Plus, I take a little pre-workout sometimes too, so that always helps. But I try to coach calmly sometimes. Like, hey, let's have a calm practice. But I just can't do it. I really can't.
No, and I mean, your videos, aside from being, obviously very informative, are also entertaining too, just with the way you bring that energy. And, I'll admit there were a couple times this season, both in the high school room and in the youth room, that I just kind of channeled you a little bit. And that kind of stepped that up a little bit, and it definitely helped as that goes on. And actually, I'll ask you a little bit about that little later. But so just, obviously you've been coaching for a long time, but why don't you talk us first through your journey? How did you get involved with the sport? And then, what does that look like?
Okay. It's a great story that was used on me, and I try to use it on kids too. I started in 9th grade, and in 8th grade we had that wrestling class. And I remember, taking our shirts off, still wearing our jeans. And I remember I had a match against this kid named Kevin Walk. And it's so funny because I beat him, and let me back it all the way up. As a kid, I was tough, what I'm saying? I'm anything but a bully, but if I saw a bully, I took care of him. So I was a wiry little kid, and I didn't even know wrestling existed. I mean, this is back in the 70s and the early 80s, what I'm saying? So internet wasn't around. Yeah. Zeke Jones was in our state. He's a couple years older than me, and Zeke and Andy McNaughton and Tricia McNaughton, all those hammers knew that wrestling existed, but I didn't know it existed. I didn't know it was a real sport. So anyway, come 9th grade, my buddy Scott Morocco says, "Hey, Krause, you got to wrestle. You got to wrestle." Because we played football together. I was 112 pounds. And I said, wrestling's really a sport? I mean, how do you know it's really a sport? So it just so happens I was one of the only 10 freshmen inducted into the National Honor Society. So I was at a meeting that day at school, and wrestling had already started. And I was just curious. So after the meeting, I walked up to the wrestling room, and I was just watching. And the coach, Mike Abdo, my coach, he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was freaked out. This guy really is a drill sergeant. Go figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I'm just watching." And he's like, "Well, get in here and wrestle." I said, "Well, I'm playing baseball." He said, "Baseball's next season." And right there was a defining moment.
Mm-hmm.
I could have walked away and said, "No, I'm not doing this." But I said, "All right, this guy's got a point." So I went down and got my gym clothes on, and I walked in there, and I remember they're all in a row, face each other, doing fan drags to body locks. I remember this. And I jumped in there, didn't have a clue. No one slowed it down for me. And then come live wrestling, I just got totally obliterated. I mean, I got my butt kicked by everybody up and down the river. I didn't know what we're doing. I didn't know what they even told me to do. And so after that practice, we're in the locker room, and I got done taking a shower. Everyone's like, "Krause, you wrestling? Krause, you wrestling?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Maybe I don't think so." Like I was all, I was just pissed. So I went home that night, and I'm sitting there and I'm stewing. I'm just stewing that I got my butt kicked. I said to my mom, I go, "Mom, I need a pair of wrestling shoes." She goes, "Well, that's fine, Michael. Why?" I said, "Because I'm gonna be a wrestler, Mom." And so I just jumped in full. I just jumped in with both feet. And after about 2 weeks, I kind of started figuring out what we're supposed to be doing because no one slowed it down for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, man, I started as a freshman on varsity. I was like 500. Mm-hmm. But my claim to fame out of everything I've done, I think really truly is, I was the first all-state wrestler in the history of our school. And I take great pride in that because no one had ever placed in the state or won it. Of course, I was trying to win it. I took a solid fourth, but dang it, as something inside of me, I'm just that kind of dude that's just like, "Hey, we got to try to win this thing. I'm not trying to be first. I'm trying to win this thing."
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I started. That's how it is.
Yeah, that's a lot of the people we've talked with, and even as you kind of come across, it's amazing to hear. There's not a lot of people that started in 9th grade. No. To have the success that you did just through 4 years of high school and then moving on, obviously up into the college and then into the coaching ranks is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. And to further the story, I mean, I had a couple small scholarships to smaller schools, D2 or just, other schools. When my parents went to Michigan State, so I was going there no matter what. Mm-hmm. I got a recruiting trip, which, that's great. But, they say we don't have any money for it. I didn't care. I didn't really care. I wasn't, that's why I tell kids, everyone wants a scholarship, but, just keep wrestling. So I basically walked down to Michigan State. And after my first year, I snuck into the lineup and they gave me a tuition scholarship. So I was like, sweet, now I'm on a tuition scholarship. So, I just fought my way through it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely a testament to the sport as well. Obviously that, it's personal, but that's the sport definitely brings something with it too that helps fire that up in everybody.
Right. I always tell kids wrestling will show you who you are and it'll make you who you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, as you're growing up and as you're getting into high school, who were some of your biggest influences in your life?
All right. Well, here's the deal. I mean, my mom had a big influence on me. She was a tough nut, so to speak. She's 4'10", 4'11" at tops. And she kept us, I have two brothers. She kept us in line pretty good. And we were, for the most part, pretty good kids, but we got the wooden spoon here and there. So, that shaped us up pretty good.
Yeah.
But as far as, my high school coach was a big influence. Guys on my team were a big influence. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the news reporters in the Detroit area, but Charlie LaDuff, I repeat, Charlie LaDuff was the senior when I was a freshman, and he was just like he is now, but he influenced me as far as attitude goes, being tough. Mm-hmm. And then at Michigan State, a bunch of the wrestlers, obviously, that were on the team influenced me. And, and let me tell you one thing. This is a good one here. When I went to the 1986 I Did It camp, it was a month-long camp, and about broke me. Day 3, I was just, couldn't believe it. Mark Schwab, all these guys, Ed Geezy were just literally beating the crap out of us. But after the second week, I loved it. Anyway, there was a guy there by the name of Fury, and he went by the name of Sergeant Fury. And we just loved him because when he coached us, he pretended to be a sergeant. It was so freaking funny, man. He was like, "Gentlemen, today we're going to have a great day because we have superior firepower and superior strength and superior," just made stuff up. We just loved it. So that guy kind of influenced me how to coach, you know, be a little bit of a character. So the kids imitate you, you know, I mean, so anyway, those people influenced me. I mean, my mom and my dad influenced me, but my mom was really the disciplinarian / you know, when I was in high school and I could hear her in the stands going, "You can do it, Michael." I was like, "I got this. My mom's got my back. Get back." I just loved it.
That's awesome. So, you know, obviously some people catch the coaching bug. You know, I think you ask any coach, they can kind of pinpoint for you when they knew this was something they wanted to pursue. So when did you know that coaching was something that you definitely wanted to pursue?
Well, here's when I knew it, man, because I was basically a walk-on. You know, I initially wasn't one of the cool kids on scholarship, but I was still hanging with the cool kids. And then I got a scholarship, so I was a cool kid. And then all of a sudden, we had every year I had a bunch of walk-ons come in, and I was the walk-ons coach. I told these guys, man, this is not going to be fun. You got to learn to love this. You know, in fact, one of my buddies, James Richardson, used to call it the all Krause team, all the walk-ons, and I took some pride in that. And I told those guys, you can't quit during the season. I know it sucks. You're not getting any money to do this. You're skipping. You're missing classes. We're going away for just open meets or open tournaments. It's not easy, man. You know. And so I tried to keep those guys on the team mentally, and I'd coach them. Technique wise too. So I knew right away in probably my sophomore year in college, I wanted to be a coach.
So can you talk us through just a little bit, you know, what's your coaching journey look like? You know, I kind of laid a little bit out at the beginning, but
okay. I mean, I got done with college, and I immediately came back home, and I went to the local high school. In fact, I'll say like it is. I went to my high school that I graduated from, and it wasn't an organized practice. And if there's one thing I can't stand is an unorganized practice. All right, now the coach and I are buddies, so I'm not bad mouthing them, but I mean, if I'm going somewhere to help out and there's no structure, I'm out. So I went to basically one of our rival high schools because I heard they had a couple tough kids. That's it. You know, there's a couple tough kids. So I walked in there and I knew the assistant coach and the head coach, and they say, "Yeah, sure, come on in, Krause." And I immediately befriended these kids. They were great kids. I was only 24, you know, so I felt like I was on the team basically. Yeah. And I just started wrestling. I started wrestling these guys and kicking the crap out of them. And then they gave me the rungs to show technique. And one of my other claim to fame is we had no feeder program at Livonia Stevenson. And between me and the other coach and the guys that I brought in, like Joel Smith came in, we amassed 33 all-state kids, 5 individual state titles, 2 all-state teams, and like 3 conference titles in 9 years, when prior to that, they had nothing. So it can be done. You can't coach kids from 9th grade on. It was not easy. You know, at Catholic Central, I'm feeding people 9th graders that win state titles, you know? Yeah. No one was feeding me those guys. They're feeding me guys that had bad habits from 8th grade wrestling class. So anyway, after Livonia Stevenson, I went, Mark Torella Sr., as we talked about, recruited me to be Ryan Torella's workout partner his senior year. And a quick story about Ryan. I'm going to show him this. The day one, I didn't know who he was. I knew he was. I knew Mark. You know, Mark's a legend. And so Mark's like, "Hey, this is Mike Krause. He's going to be a workout partner." I was weighing like 172. Ryan's a 145 or 40-pound defending state champion. Like, whatever. This kid's like a high school kid. And at the very first day, Mark Torella has got us going minute goes. So I'm like, "All right, so it's minute go." I'm out of shape. I was 30 years old. I was 30 at the time. And after about four, I was kicking the crap out of Ryan too. He'll tell you that. The first 3-4 minutes, I'm kicking the crap out of him, and then I'm about to pass out. My throat's closing up. I'm looking at Mark like, what? How much longer are we going here? This is day one. We went for 14 minutes, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. The last 9 minutes, 6 minutes, I thought I was gonna die. Ryan was just killing me, torquing on me, and of course, I'm trying to save face because I'm this new dude, his workout partner. And after that workout, I ran out of the room and ran out of the bathroom and projectile vomited like twice. I came back. I'm not kidding you. I'm talking like The Exorcist. And I came walking back in. I was dizzy. I came walking back in, and they're all kind of laughing because they knew I was messed up. And they were taking bets whether I was going to come back or not. So it took me 2 weeks to get in shape. And once I did, I barfed one more time. After about a week, I tried to kick his little butt. But then after 2 weeks, I was back in shape, and I was kicking Ryan's butt. But it was such a fun deal being his personal partner, basically. Then I went to my hometown, Heartland, where I lived, and I was just helping out, put the headgear on, and just helping out, rolling with the high school guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the head high school coach there kind of was one of those guys that we all know, those guys that have a bit of an ego, that don't really want anybody that's good in the room type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it, but I didn't say anything. I was just wrestling, and it got a little weird. And I had a job where I couldn't make the high school practice, and he said, "Oh, you can coach the kids if you want." So that's where I started coaching youth, because of my job. Thank God for that dumb job. So I started coaching the youth team there, and then all heck broke loose. We had like 140 kids show up to the club because I was killing it. And, we won a couple little kids state titles, big deal. Things got a little weird there. You know how drama always, success always breeds drama. We all know that. And so it was a public school, and we had a board. The board was killing me. So Mitch Hancock came over during one of my practices and said, "Hey, Mike, you want to come over and coach a CC?" And I was like, "Hey, Mitch, I appreciate it." This is before I got all mad. This is before I left, but of course. But I told Mitch that this is my hometown, and I appreciate it. I'm flattered, man. I know CC is a great program. You guys are great back, whatever. But then when the drama got too thick, I called Mitch up. "Hey, Mitch, is that offer still on the table?" "Sure is, buddy." So I went over there, and that was back in 2008. And then in 2010, we were team state champs, and I was funneling some dudes. I was funneling the whole area. In fact, I was so proud of those Team Shamrock guys. I'm not kidding you. I look at pictures of those guys back in the day, and the whole darn squad, they're all little pipsqueaks, but they all became actually, I fed like 3 high schools in the area their best wrestlers in the history of the program.
Wow.
I know it's probably a coincidence, but then of course CC, and in fact 3 years ago it was DCC versus Brighton, and the adjacent school, and in the finals, and it looked like a Team Shamrock dual meet. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "What's up?" I was like, "Good luck, guys. This is great." But all right. And then to back it up, I started doing. Well, you want to hear the story about how I started doing clinics?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, prior to this, I was working at Cliff Keen Athletic, and I was going to all the Tulsa and all the Reno and stuff for Jack Roller, and I created that Bring It shirt. And then, Shane Roller couldn't do this clinic he was doing at West Virginia, and he said, "Hey," he called me up and said, "Hey, Mark, I know you can coach. You think you can do a clinic for me?" That's how he talks, by the way. And I said, "All right, yeah, no problem, buddy." So I showed up there, and there's like 80 coaches hanging around, and 60 kids are hanging around. So I did my usual stick, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that was crazy." And I'm like, "All right, well, that's what I do." And then I got a couple guys that wanted clinics, and I'm like, "What the hell's a clinic? What do I do?" So I started doing clinics, and then I told my wife at the time, divorced, I said, "I think I want to be a clinic guy." She's like, "Well, what does that pay?" I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to do it." And so, the world was stacked against me. Nobody believed in me but me. And I'm going to tell you, the first 2 years were rough, but dang it, I did it. I'm this dude, and I love it.
Oh, yeah. So, just to kind of pick your brain here now,
Take it.
Obviously, you have a lot of experience being across the country, dealing with high-level kids, clinics,
and low
all
level,
that.
and low level,
and low level. Yes. Just can you talk us a little through kind of your philosophy and how you really get those kids to buy in? Because we were fortunate enough this year, we took our numbers up. We had over 78 kids, but we started with only 17 returning. So,
nice.
We had a lot of young guys, and we did as much as we could to try and get those guys to try and buy in and just come around.
Yeah.
Can you talk us a little bit through?
Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of rooms. My room was a real practice room. I mean, my I'll call them my advanced guys. The guys that weren't, 3 years and below or whatever they were. I ran that like an elite level high school room with a little bit of fun, And let me say, when I first started coaching youth, I was so against games. I thought games were horrible. And I learned pretty quick. You got to throw a little dodgeball in there. You got to throw something in there because, trust me, they're kids, I don't give a crap. You're 8-time Tulsa champ. You're still a kid. Sharks and minnows, somebody always gets hurt, but whatever. Sometimes you throw one of those in there for a morale builder. But my philosophy is, these kids got to trust the process. It's so cliche. But when I get a first year kid, I tell the parents it's going to take 3 years. They're not going to get this. I even tell the kids, you're not going to be able to hit a good head inside single up to your feet for 3 years. I said, prove me wrong. Maybe you can, but it's not easy. This is not easy. I'm a hammer, but I think I would say I'm a hammer with a heart. So I get it. if you're giving me, let me tell you my 5 rules. Rule number 1, you got to pay attention. 2, you got to give me full effort. 3 is try not to cry. If you got to cry, kid, cry it up. But when you're done crying, you ask yourself, do you need to cry? Rule number 4 is important. Don't talk when the coach is talking. That goes to the parents more than the kids. And rule number 5, which I go into great detail when I do my clinics, is called respect. What's it called? Respect. So I say this, and I even show eye rolling, and I show the whatever, man. So long story short, where was I going with that? With the beginning kids, I said if you show me effort, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. If you're not showing me effort, I'll lose my mind. So my philosophy is, and another thing, I show kids the highest level of technique at an early age. Some guys telling me, I still show the old school stand up. I said, well, guess what? I'm showing chop defense, rotate up stand up to the brand new kids. Sure, I still show them the old stand up, because you might need that with 5 seconds to go. You're not, the score's tight, you're on the bottom. I said, but I'm not showing kids technique that's not going to work on kids that are better than them. And that's my real true philosophy. We're trying to beat kids that are better than us, not the 45 kids you're going to beat anyway. I don't give a crap about those kids.
Yeah.
I really don't.
So, this leads perfectly into, what I was looking to talk to you about next. So fundamentals,
Yep.
What do you, we at the high school level and at the youth level, we're really truly trying to bring in the belief of, less is more. We're trying to be really, really good at a few things in all the positions and just get really, really stinking good to where, I tell the story of, I was at a camp a couple of years ago, and one of the coaches said that, he used to walk out on the mat in high school and everybody knew he was going to go for a 2-on-1 and try and hit, just a little shovel. And he said, I didn't care. I loved it. They knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and you see it with these top level guys. So can you just talk us a little through, what do you really try and establish with your kids in terms of fundamentals?
With my guys, well, here's the deal with coaching a youth team when you only have 2 practices a week. My top game changes every year. I show, if you're in my club for 5 years, I'm going to spit you out with a pretty good sense of the sport. You know what I'm saying? But for the top game, I'll change it every year. We'll do a bar arm series. Next year, we're totally a leg team. Next year, we're doing tilts. And, but I'll show a little bit here and there to refresh it. So after your 5th year, you're going to see we're going to really hammer, cradles and bundles. We're going to hammer, overhook the back leg and do whatever. We're going to hammer certain things every year. But we're going to touch on everything, but we're going to hammer certain things every year. Right. And the thing, so basically with the fundamentals, I'm going to answer your question right or wrong, but, I'm putting them in situations, obviously head outside single, head inside single, and we're going to slowly build our muscle memory, after 5 years, I'm going to spit you out with a ton of stuff on your feet, a ton of swagger. And to talk more about my philosophy, I really analyzed how and why my club did so well. I know technique. That's fine. Everyone knows technique. Right. But what I really did with these kids is I positively brainwashed them into believing in themselves at the next level at high school. Because we constantly talked about high school state finals. I constantly said during practice, the end of practice, you're down by 1 in the state finals. You're tired. Your shoulder hurts. Your knees busted up. Are you going to cry? No. You're going to cry? No. Then dig deep, please. And they all, so every day they're in some situation where I think it worked. And the other thing that I do that I was with Mike Moore, Mindset Mike for the last 5 days prior to this. I do simple things like, who's tired? Not me. Who's tired? Not me. Bullcrap push-ups. Thanks, coach. And if they don't yell not me convincing enough, we do push-ups. So when I got my team totally brainwashed, and back in the heyday, I would just yell, who's tired? And every little kid would be like, not me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Who's the man? I'm the man. I don't believe you. Push-ups. If you, that's one thing I do at clinics. I always do that. And when the kids do buy into it, and at first it's kind of a little awkward. No one wants to yell, but I make them yell. And parents will go, I never knew my kid would yell like that. I'm like, well, you got to give them a chance. You got to make them yell. You got to make them yell positive stuff. Yeah. So basics are huge. Obviously, we all got to hit basic positions because those are going to win huge matches. I'm a huge fan of the proper go behind. But I do show a lot of swagger. Who's got swagger? I got swagger. And I got little kids walking around just punking each other out. One thing I do when they're drilling, I make the kid tell their kid, "What's up?" They're kidding around, but it's spewing attitude the whole practice.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's I think the biggest thing too we try and overcome, I should say, because it is tough, especially with so many rookies this year, was that mindset piece. And I mean, I'm even seeing it at the high school level too. So a lot of what you just had to say there is awesome, because I know this message is going to be pretty big for a lot of guys just to hear that stuff. And one other thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about with that mindset is you had a good video you put out. You may or may not remember it, but you talked about reading the bracket and talking about how there's always a number one seed that goes down in the first round. Why can't you be that guy?
I remember that talk. I remember that talk.
So
0.9 number one seeds go down. It might not be in the tournament you're at, but you look at 2 consecutive tournaments, and some number one seed always takes a dump first round. Yeah. So if you're seated first, you better warm up. That leads to my whole warm up thing. The key to a great tournament's a great warm up, and don't underestimate that guy who's not seated. So, and if you're not seated, guess what? Everyone has a bad day. This number one seed might have a bad day. Guess what? And Mike Moore and I talked about this. Be grateful. Be grateful this kid's seated number one. You have an opportunity to beat this kid. The odds are against you. Yeah, we know that. But guess what? Go out there and really give it a shot. Because I can tell when you're not really giving it a shot. I can tell when you're posing. I'm not your great grandma.
So how do you kind of help kids work through, you just hit on a great, warm-ups obviously key to it, but even then that pre-match anxiety, duels or tournaments, what do you kind of talk them through? How do you help them through some of that pre-match anxiety?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I mean, we talk about this. We talk about our pre-match warm-up. We actually practice warming up. We actually practice when the referee makes a bad call. We actually practice when you collar tie too hard and the ref blows the whistle. I have the kids go, "Sorry, man." They shake hands. We go through those simple little weird things. So when it happens, they've been there, done that. Yeah. All right. So pre-match anxiety. My philosophy is calm intensity. All right. And we all saw David Taylor lose to Dake, and he basically gassed out. And Taylor and Dake are all friends, but I'm not really with Taylor. You did gas, but he gassed because he got too amped. He got too amped, and he even said it. So I tell my kids to warm up. Before you're done warming up about a half hour before the match, maybe 15 minutes, whatever your personal get done warming up time is. But when you're waiting for your match, breathe easy and think calm intensity. I always tell them that I always say this to myself and to my kids: you got to wrestle for somebody you love. Wrestle for them. Prove to them and the whole world that you're tough. Because I can tell when you're not beat. I can tell when you're like, "Oh, he's a state champ, coach," and they get a double leg and they stop and they're like, "Oh, well, you're a state champ. You should probably sprawl and go behind me now." No. So years and years of grinding in their head, calm intensity. And me personally, if my hands were warm, I was warm. But calm intensity. Go out there and do your job. Go out there and have fun. Who cares? And I also say this once in a while, and I always say it to the kids. I say, you know what, guys, it pains me. It pains me to say this. Are you ready? It's just wrestling. Oh, God, it pains me to say that. And they're all like, "Coach, I know, but it's just wrestling, guys." "Oh, but Coach, you love us." "I know I do, but it's just wrestling, man."
Yeah. I think that's one of the toughest things too is, as a coach, trying to figure out, that balance between how much I talk to them before a match versus how much I just let them kind of be on your own. Can you kind of just, what do you think in your years that you've kind of done this, have you found the good balance, do you think?
Well, we all know, it's so cliche, but every kid's different. I've had kids come up to me and say, Coach, I need to talk to me. I tell them, if you want me to talk to you, I'll talk to you. I used to have one kid, Sean Sterling. He was so damn tough. This kid ended up being a 2-time state champ and a 4-time All-Stater for Dundee, Michigan. Love this kid. When he was warming up in like 7th and 8th grade, I'd walk up to him and say, "Oh, God, this kid's going to beat you." I just walk away, and he'd look at me, "What?" I go, "Yeah, this kid's, he saw your videos. He knows exactly what you're going to do." I said, "Well, like I said, when you do lose, I don't want you throwing your headgear." And I'd say it all seriousness. And he'd look at me like, "What?" And he'd go out there and just crush the kid. And I'm like, just kidding. Like he needed the reverse psychology, But, every kid's different. But I give kids, here's one thing too. I give youth wrestlers the respect like they're college wrestlers, especially when they lose a big match. I don't know if you do this, Coach. I don't want to step on your toes, but after a big loss, it just jerks my chain when coaches grab the kid and then they put him in a half and they show him what they did wrong. No kid wants to be manhandled after he gets his ass kicked. let them go in the stands and be mad. It's like showing the whole crowd, I know what he did wrong. Let me show it. No, he let him lose like a little man or a little woman and go sit down. Give that kid some respect, will you? That's what I do.
No, definitely. Trying, with the high school guys, it's a little bit different than the youth guys, but I tell them they got about 3-4 minutes to go go calm down, and then just a couple of things. It's never too much.
I tell them 5 minutes. You got maybe I'll tone it down to 3. You got 3 minutes.
So I want to get back on, drilling and teaching a little bit, just because, obviously I've already said this on end, but we had a lot of rookies, and we're looking to finally turn that corner a little bit with some of those guys. And even in the high school room, and this is actually from one of our high school coaches, question for you is, what balance do you find between teaching and drilling? How long do you spend on teaching versus how long do you spend on drilling, or do you kind of have like a set?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, I'll go through my whole thing, but okay, here's the deal. All right, all right. Here's when I'm coaching any practice. I don't care if it's the freaking CC, Kevon Davenport, all these all-world guys. If I'm going to show technique, if I'm going to bring them in, well, actually, let me back it up. The high school guys, I never really bring them in because they're all world. I'll just show something in the middle, and we break free. But if I'm coaching my youth club, simple things. When I watch other people show technique, and their kids are all sitting around and all sporadically around the whole, around the mat, and there's like 8 rows of kids, I got a newsflash for you. Anybody past the first row is not paying attention. So it's pretty simple. If you got a big circle, everyone's got to sprint to the big circle, so everyone's got a front row seat. I'm a hammer about that. And anyway, so when I'm showing technique, I don't spend all day on it. I do it about 3 minutes. I mean, when I'm showing technique, I go through it fast. I go through it furious. I don't spend all day on it. I don't use cutesy little terms. I don't talk to them like they're little kids. I talk to them like I'm talking right now. And then I have 2 kids show what I just did. I learned real quick, even though all the lights are on, they're staring at you. No one's really paid attention. So I'm like, who's got this? Kid raises his hand and come out there, and if you've ever seen it, I give him the pressure. Pressure. It's kind of fun. We're all watching the kid, and then all of a sudden we get payback. See, it's the hoot. It's the hoot, And so we grade them how well they did. Okay, that was perfect, or I'll take it, or that's one way to do it. So it's kind of fun, entertaining, and then the kids get to see kids do it. So that's my teaching aspect. And then we all break free. We all we get a partner. 1, 2, 3. We all got to clap, and we all have to yell hustle. And they all got to sprint as fast as they can, because in my room, everyone is an assistant coach. So when I say something, they all say something, and they all do it. So then they start drilling. And when they start drilling, I explain this at every clinic. Here's the deal. When I grab your shoulders or whatever my tie-up is, you've got to grab me back. Everyone's got to use their hands. There's nothing that chaps my butt more. One kid thinks he's a dummy, and he just stands there and does nothing, because it's nationwide. So anyway, before you shoot, you got to have a setup. I say at least bang the head. And here's the deal. If you're going high crotch or double leg, the bottom line is when you grab 2 legs, you always run your feet, because nothing chaps my butt more when kids just fall down for each other. That's horrible drilling. I call it make-believe drilling. So, and my other rules are this: if somebody grabs your legs, your arms aren't sticking straight out like this. You don't have to stick your arms out like you're a statue. You got to wrap their body. And one last rule: never bail and turn down on a double leg, because that went out with the hula hoop. We did that in the 80s. Nobody turns down and bails anymore. At least keep the body wrapped. Try to pass a leg. And I got first-year kids wrapping the body and making it seem real. That right there. If you can get those rules down, and they get them down pretty quick, your drilling goes up tenfold. Yeah. And one last thing. When you get back up, I want to see some swagger. You don't just get up and walk around and stand straight up and down. And you get up with a little swagger, shake your hands, and go back at it. So when I find 2 kids that can drill pretty damn good, I'll stop the whole room and say, watch these guys drill. And I'm like, that was perfect. Can we do that? Yeah. Can we do that? Yeah. We'll get a partner. 1, 2, 3. So now they see some of their teammates doing it. They're like, oh my God, we can do that too, can't we? Well, good luck, kid. So, and one last thing. When my drilling technique is this: I'll walk around the whole room after they're drilling. They're drilling kind of slow, kind of getting it down. Maybe it's something new, maybe not. I'll let them do that for like 4 or 5 minutes of just light drilling, and then I'll blow the whistle. And if you've ever seen when I blow the whistle, everyone's got to say bouncing and breathing, and they're all bouncing. I'll say, here we go. We're going world-class speed. 20 seconds. One guy goes, the other guy goes. It's not how fast you do it. It's how fast you get your butt back up. That's going to press me and everybody watching. So now we got 20 seconds of speed drilling. and you'd be amazed how horrible the speed drilling is opposed to the real drilling. But you gotta change speeds. So, eventually they get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing, but you change speeds on them, and then you bring it back in, and it shows more technique.
Hey, yeah. Coach Krause, I got to jump in here real quick. It's Coach Adam, man. It's just funny. It's funny hearing you say all this stuff because I remember I started watching a ton of your videos midway through the seasons when I just went all in and started watching all your videos. And I swear the next day I had some coaches text me, what's up with you? What were you on coffee or something today on practice? Yeah. So it was just good to hear from you some of the actual strategies you use, even just getting kids' attention. Like some of the stuff I saw about you getting kids' attention, have them repeat what you say, and just clapping and everything like that. The intensity and specific strategities you use. I mean, it's a game changer. Really,
it really is, man. When I watch this, I'll say about boring practice. I'm like, dude, no one's paying attention, man. These kids don't give a crap who you are. Make them pay attention. Got it? Yeah. Got it? Yeah. I get louder. You get louder. Got it? Yeah. Right, give that kid one big clap. If one kid goes really loud, I'm like, that kid's a go-getter.
I mean, it's funny because everybody, like you say, everyone knows how to show technique. Everyone's a technique expert, right? But it doesn't matter if you're talking to a wall, right?
I'm saying. Perfect, man. I love it, dude.
We appreciate all the stuff you're putting out.
I love it, man. Thanks for telling me. I appreciate that.
Oh, he popped out. He pops in and out. No.
I thought I shut off. I was like, we're bumming.
So I got to ask you then too. So you're walking around, you speed drill. How much emphasis do you put on initially drilling the right way versus as you go along?
Oh, day one. Okay. About the whole, if someone grabs your legs, grab the body. If you grab two legs, run them down. I mean, seriously, give me, if the kids are like, month one and they know like 4 or 5 takedowns, it's implemented. Every clinic I implement it. And it truly is a game changer because I don't do it initially. I see how the kids drill to see how, good or bad they are. And then I stop the room and I implement those rules, and it's night and day. It's night and day. Because if you don't do it, someone hits a high crotch on some little kid, their arms are floating in the air and they fall to their stomach. I'm like, and I say, that's make believe. That's never going to happen against a guy better than you. They're like, oh, okay. If the guy grabs your 2 legs and runs his feet, you wrap their body with their arms and post your hand out. Don't turn down. Okay. And that's it. Boom.
So, we talked a little bit about pre-match anxiety, but, in terms of motivating kids as well, you do this year round, you travel to 50 states, you are just a madman. But I'm sure there's
48 states, 48. Hawaii and Alaska, keep calm, but no one's pulled the trigger, man. Pull the trigger, Hawaii. You too, Alaska, Shannon Fortune.
So, and obviously there's got to be points where you're kind of feeling the grind a little bit too. What do you, how do you kind of embrace that with your kids to, I know it's cliche as well to, say embrace the grind, but how do you kind of talk through that?
Well, here's the deal, man. I mean, during the season, right now, back during the season, it is a grind. I'd walk into practice some days and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody shoot me. I don't want to be here, But coaching kids, they lit me up. So, even my club, I got excited. Once I got there, everything has changed, But let me back it up. Sometimes during practice, my eyes will start watering. I'm so fired up to coach, But there's been times on the road where I kind of felt like I was feeling the grind, but I'm gonna say it like it is. On the road, I see new kids every day, but now I'm doing 3-day clinics. But I'll say one thing: I don't drink any beers on the road, so that doesn't have anything to do with me feeling bad. I'm always ripping it. You know what I'm saying? So between that and then just being amped up to be basically I'm on stage. People are paying to see me coach their kids. So I take it to heart. I've seen some guys wear watches and wear hats and bring their phones on the mat. That's not me. I'm all in. I try to mess with every kid personally. I try to give every kid a nickname, and I don't do it to be fake. That's who I am, Yeah. So if I start to feel the grind, I just give myself one of these. Pick it up.
So, back with your home club, how do you kind of help your kids through it as you can kind of see, that it's really starting to affect them?
Back when I was coaching my home club, I don't coach them anymore. Okay. I haven't coached them in 2 years, but back in the day, it's like when I used to do 5-day camps. That's too much. And let me say this: on the road, I'm pretty much okay. There's clinic coach Krause, and then there's my home team, coach Krause. I still do all my clinicky things. But when I'm on the road, I'm full blown clinic coach Krause. You know what I'm saying? It's full blown to the nines. And sometimes with my own club, I'd be a little more calm, but all my clapping, all my callback stuff is still relevant. Even with the high school guys, they love it. When I say who's tired, not me. But what I'm saying is, during the season, I just play a game. We do dodgeball. They come in all sulking or whatnot. All right, man, dodgeball. Dodgeball. I figured out dodgeball cures everything. It cures sickness. It cures broken arms. Or it cures legs that hurt. Oh my God! It's like, oh, hallelujah. He's been healed. So, I mean, we just play a game. Or we just take it slower. Yeah.
So,
pick it up, kid.
We, like I kind of told you earlier, we have a lot of rookies, and with that, we've also been fortunate that we had a lot of dads join on and coach as well. I think we got up to somewhere around like 21 to 23 coaches.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And all of us are dads in the room. So, we're always trying to look for some insight into, finding that healthy balance between dad and coach. So what advice can you kind of give for our club dads?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I let any dad on the mat. I had a bunch of dads helping out, and maybe about 5 or 6 at one time. But I always said this. I said, I'm sure it's not you, and I don't want to step on your father-son bond, but you can coach all you want, but you can't coach your own kid. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't want you talking to your kid on the mat. And if you can't do that, then you can't be on the mat. I'm sure your kid is the only kid that loves you coaching them. I said, but I can't have it. And they're like, oh my God, so I felt, some didn't mind it. Some were like a little pissed off and couldn't come on. I'm like, I don't tell you. I had one guy want to leave the club because he came walking on the mat. And I'm like, whoa. I said, you can't come on the mat. I'm going to tell my kids something. No, you're not. I said, you got to go sit down. He said, well, we're leaving. I looked at the kid. I said, you want to leave? He goes, Dad. I go, we'll talk after practice, man. And we became best friends. But, well, oh my God, I did a camp one time in Maryland, and this dad was a helicopter dad right over his kid the whole time. I'm talking coaching him like it was a micro match. And so at the end of the camp, I said, who here likes their dads coaching them? And then all the dads are behind the kids, and no one raised their hand. And so I kind of regret this, but I said, okay, everybody, give me a beat it, Dad, on 3. They all went 1, 2, 3, beat it, Dad. And the guys were kind of shocked. And they're all standing up. And if you ever see one of my practices at the end, if you're standing up on the mat with me, I'm going to call on you to say something. And I called on that dad to say something. He was all choked up. He goes, I got nothing to say. And I'm like, maybe I helped you, maybe I hurt you, but my God, you are really chapping. You're making me sick to my stomach. Walk around, dude.
So, do you now do anything with those dads where you kind of like, because obviously as you're showing technique as the coach, you want to make sure that message is the same as you break out and as you have other coaches wander in the room. So do you ever have any kind of talks with those guys before clinics or anything like that? Or have you in the past where, hey, I just want to make sure we're on the same page?
Yeah, my page. Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, I've had a couple of dads, I was all world this, I don't give a rip. But I very rarely have dads try to undermine my techniques, because they're all friggin', proven solid techniques. I do cancer for everybody, So, are you saying like you're showing something and dad's actually trying to show something else during the whole technique thing?
And I mean, I've seen it in other rooms. I've seen it in other high school rooms where you could tell that, it's not on the same page, that message that's being sent by who's teaching the technique and then going out. So I'm just trying to, making sure, is there a message out there that you have to make sure that you have to be on the same page?
Well, maybe you can have a coaching meeting, what I'm saying? Say, this is what we're showing. Because I used to show double legs to shoulder turns, not half Nelsons, because I told the high school coach where I was at in my hometown, I said, listen, when's the last time you got caught in a half Nelson on a double leg? Never. If you do catch a guy in a half Nelson off double leg, he's not, well, I say he sucks. He's his first year wrestler. We're not trying to beat those guys. We're going double legs to shoulder turn, circle the head. We might score 2 near fall. we're not going to pin that guy, but we're going to score 2 near fall.
Mm-hmm.
And he was undermining me. He's going, no, we got to go to half Nelson's. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not making this stuff up, dude. But anyway, yeah, you got to have everybody on the same page. I mean, I've seen some dads who, or we're all state champs or whatever, and they want to show their own personal stuff, but do that on your own time. When we're mass coaching, I'm the voice, and there's only one voice, by the way. Nothing chaps my butt worse, but people stop you during technique and they're like, whoa, see that right there? See, that's perfect. Oh, thanks, buddy. Or now why are you doing this? Hey, quit talking. I'm talking. That doesn't happen anymore. But in my early days, I used to have some guys try to puff up and just talk while I'm showing technique. Shut up. One voice.
No, we've been fortunate that we, with as many dads in the room and as many coaches in the room, that we are on that same page. I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit. It was year 1 for us this year. We're moving on. We luckily have the same core group coming back, so I'm really, really happy and excited about that. So
that sounds great. 28 guys on a mat. Everyone gets their own personal circle,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's perfect.
So, as we kind of wrap up here a little bit, we have some dads that, they came on a little late. What message would you have to anybody that's considering coaching, especially at the youth level?
Well, if you're gonna, if you're a dad, okay, just helping out or being the head coach.
Just helping out.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yeah. Especially here's the thing. If you're a dad who doesn't really know a lot about wrestling, you can still come on the mat. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you what coaching really is. It's about relationships. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be that Mr. Know-it-all guy. Some of my first year dads are like, I can't be in the corner. I don't know what to say. I say, clap your hands. So you got it, Johnny. That's all he wants to hear. He'll do the rest. But if you're gonna walk around the mat, help out, point out, and the kids know if you're a poser, don't act like you know everything. Mm-hmm. If even when I'm walking around and somebody else is showing technique and I'm not paying attention, I'll walk up to some kids and I'll say, what are we doing? Show me, what are we doing? Help me out here. I'm like this coach, but I don't claim to everything. And especially if you're a new dad that doesn't never wrestle, mm-hmm. Don't be a poser. This kid knows you're a poser. Hey, Johnny, I think it's supposed to be like this. Like I would tell the kid, I think we're supposed to do this because kids are smart. They mm-hmm. know when you're a poser. Don't act like you know everything when you don't. That's my advice.
Yeah. So I got to give a little shout out here. He wasn't able to be with us tonight, but Coach Brad, he's one of our dads. He had a specific question for you as well. Okay. So in regards to being aggressive and having urgency, as a wrestler, both in practice and in the match, how do you help build that mentality? And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but maybe more specifically just towards that aggressiveness.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an age-old question, and I got a great answer. I'm sure you do this drill too, but it's not shark bait per se. But my old Team Shamrock guys would request this every practice, and sometimes I actually do it every clinic now too. You get in 4-man groups or 5-man groups. It's pretty simple. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal: if it's 2 in the middle, we're going takedowns. What are we going? Takedowns, and winner stays in. Who stays in? Winner. And it's aggressive style wrestling. You only have 10 seconds to get a takedown. I don't want to see any dancing. I want to see contact. So here's the real kicker. If you're not in the middle wrestling, you're bouncing and breathing, and you're actually opening your mouth and coaching the guys in the middle. Because we all know our first year of coaching, I got 8 times better. I'm like, my God, now I understand what I do. I explain to some kid, So I want the kids opening their mouths and talk and coaching the 2 kids in the middle. And here's the real kicker. The next person in, once that person gets a takedown, you got 1 second to jump on them. So once you understand this drill, it becomes like a mini brawl. Yeah. Back in the day, I had my Team Shamrock guys doing this so well. They'd be getting a takedown in midair, and in midair they would stop. They would just turn and they'd jump at the next guy. I'm telling you, it was like they're going at it. And of course, we'd have the guys that were in next that as soon as they got a takedown, they just jump up on their back. And that's fine. That's fine. That teaches that guy to get his ass back up. Yeah. I brought, I think, 5 or 6 of my Team Shamrock guys to a Waunakee, Wisconsin clinic, and my little dudes were so funny. Okay, we did that drill, and they were ready for it because we've been doing it for the last 3 years. And when you incorporate that drill, the kids who don't get it, they hey, I'm next. Okay, they slowly walk out there and they want to smack the kid's hand. And I'm all about sportsmanship, but not right now. All right. And my kids understand. They were just train wrecked the whole camp. I was like, oh my God. And one of the coaches goes, how do you teach your kids to be so aggressive? I said, this is what we do for fun. This is our fun drill. Who can stay in the middle and get up and kill each other?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. So yeah.
So one final piece that I always like to try and end with is, as we kind of move on and as we're getting going, obviously we don't know what the world's going to look like here moving forward, but just, what kind of final big piece of advice do you have for our guys, just youth wrestlers in general, about, as they move forward, as they're looking to continue their career?
Yeah, well, here's the deal, guys. My advice to you guys is, obviously it's age-old cliche, trust the process. When I'm showing technique, I'll tell kids, you know what, I'll do the cow leg lift and return. I say it takes 6 years to get this. Kids look at me like, oh, bull crap. I say, it really does. You might be able to do it in practice a few times, but you got to be able to do this stuff under pressure, under the lights, with the crowd staring at you. When you can embrace that feeling, then you're the man. And when you get to the point where you're actually getting your techniques down, pick out your favorite wrestler. Maybe it's Dake Taylor. I don't know. It's Kyle Schneider. Who knows? Burroughs. And you know what? Watch. And you guys have the luxury of internet. Back in my day, we had to get VHS tapes for the brand boys and then watch them. A blurry tape. Watch your favorite wrestler on the internet and imitate them. I'm talking about imitate them. Walk like them. Move like them. Just steal their technique. They don't care. They'll love it. Have some swagger. Be a pumper-upper. Be a leader in practice. That's my big thing too. Yeah. I'm all about technique. Everyone's got great technique. In my practice, everyone's a leader. Everyone's a leader, and everyone's intense. And being an intense leader. Because you know what? Your coach isn't going to say, "Hey, man, I got this. You need some help." Mm-hmm. Just plain and simple.
All right, Coach. Well, I think we may be wrapping up here, but we really, really appreciate you being able to meet with us. Letting us pick your brain a little bit.
I'm grateful for you. Thank you, man. I really I appreciate it. 100%.
Yeah, and Coach Krause, just to point out again, can't thank you enough. Just so that everything that you're doing, even all the stuff you post on YouTube, it has like this ripple effect. It really does. There's a ton of people watching that stuff. I'm up late at night texting guys videos of you. You really have transformed a lot of wrestling rooms, and you've made it from a boring old watch me, listen to me, shut up, and to a hey, we're having fun, we're learning, we're getting better, and like you just transformed a lot of coaches across the nation. So thank you.
I totally appreciate that, man. Thanks.
And we're definitely bringing you back in. We're bringing you in for this 50 states thing.
I'm coming, man. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that too.
Yeah, we know exactly what night Adam started watching your videos. Exactly.
I told you. I told you.
Like, what the hell happened with Adam?
There's a lot of coffee.